What's up guys, welcome to episode 1 of Mod Review. Now, this is the very first style of video in this style that I'm ever doing, okay? Any feedback, anything you want to say about this video, please let me know. I've never done anything like this before. Any feedback, positive or negative, please provide it to me. I'm willing to take anything. Now, before we get into this review, I've got to go over a couple of rules that I've decided for this series. Rule number 1. One mod is in this review. However, any mods that are required to be part of it, so like some mods might need another mod in order to function, we'll include them. They are going to be allowed to be in the review. Second rule is going to be that we're only using the current version of Rimworld, which is currently 1.4, and we're only taking the mods from Steam Workshop because I am not capable of getting them anywhere else. I am not able to do that because I don't know how. And the third rule is not NSFW. You know, we've posted them on YouTube, guys. They can have the nice stuff in them. Now, I've got to say before we start, the mod for today's episode is the Dead Man's Switch mod made by AOBA. Fantastic mod that I'm very excited to be looking into, and this was suggested in my Discord by Chaotic Catholic. What a name, what a fantastic bloke that suggested for this. If you wanted to suggest a mod for the next episode, the link to the Discord is in the description. Please join it, suggest me another fantastic mod, and as we get into things, consider liking, subscribing. Make sure you tell your mum about it. Let's get into the review and see what I think. So these mod reviews are going to be split into 5 different sections: content quality, balancing, compatibility, and mod recommendations. I'm aware that I've just done 6 different things with my fingers there. Ignore that. So I'm going to start with content to begin with and rate that out of 10. Now, obviously, first impressions count. And when I loaded up this mod, I was shocked and delighted in such a positive way to see fantastic, lovely graphics here from AOBA. Lovely description and everything, a contents page of everything he includes within the mod itself. It's so deep and derivative. I love that he's actually included so many different things. It's lovely to see. Now, starting with the actual content this mod provides, you don't even have to go into the game itself to look at what this provides. It's very own scenario. It's not very often that a mod actually provides a in-depth scenario that gives you a real taste as to what it provides. I'd say this is kind of a mixture of the Mechanator scenario that the base game provides you, mixed with the royalty DLC, because not only do you get all the custom things that come with this mod, it provides its own faction that is very similar to the royalty DLC royalty stuff. You know, you get your own royal titles, but for a military organization, it's so rich and fruitful for things that it provides. It's brilliant, and all the stuff provided, it steps you straight into the mod without even needing to do any research or get any resources, which is a lovely touch from AOBA there. Now it's time to get into the meat of this mod, the full 3-course menu. Now imagine you're at your favorite restaurant, you've sat down, the waiter has come over, he's gently caressed you on the cheek and said, "This is what I've got for you." It is the most erotic, handsome experience of your life, and let me tell you right now, you're in love. You're in love because you have an assortment of 51 different items, including 25 weapons, 14 buildable structures, and 30 mechanoids, all to your disposal. This is the most amount of items I've seen in a mod in so long, and let me tell you, it is a delight to see. I figure we start with the very good stuff, the minified structure, the things that you use to make everything else. And as we can see from that turret swinging around, it is definitely happy to see you, just as I am to see you as well. So the first thing on the list is going to be the Automatroid. What fucking word is... So the Automatroid constructor, as we all know and love it, is actually where we're going to be making all of our mechanoids, and there is an absolute abundance of them. Look at them all. Just look. There's one for every occasion. You could get one for your mum, get one for your dad, get one for your granny. And in fact, you do have one that does every single job you can imagine. Hauling, fighting, mining, everything is available here. And next on the list, we have the pressure chamber. Now, from what I can tell, this is literally just a biofuel refinery. We can make chem fuel. We can also make polyester and plast fiber, though. Very important things. And speaking of important things, we have the sintering furnace, which is basically a crematorium. We can burn bodies, make tungsteel and ceramics. Very important for later. And second to last is the fusel chamber, where we can make some bionics and a couple of other variants to the things that we can make within the mod. somewhat important, maybe more unique than a lot of other things. And next, the machinery printer. Oh, this is the meat, the absolute filet mignon of this mod. The waiter's come along, he's provided you a platter of things within this workbench, and he said enjoy, and you have got a smattering of things to enjoy. So much stuff here, and this is where you're going to be making all of the weapons and everything within the mod. And last but not least, we have the Automatroid Recharger, which is there for recharging the mechanoids, a decoy antenna, and the decoy radar, which are literally the modded equivalent of the base game mechanoid summoning things for bosses. Very cool and very interesting. So you've had your starter, the waiter has brought it over and he's taken away your plate as you finished and brings you out your filet mignon. But it's not a filet mignon, it's a little Wagyu steak, and it's put into separate little individual dishes. It's like being at a Michelin star restaurant. The quality and the amount of content provided here is of a level I haven't seen in such a long time. There's so much of it as well. It's fantastic to see. It really brings a warm feeling to my heart and a lovely positive buzz to my mind, because I am so intrigued and elated to discover more about what this mod provides and the content that you are seeing right now. There's a wide range of it. I'm not going to be able to cover every single little bit of it, but what I can cover is the good stuff. Now, when I talk about the good, this is what I am talking about. This is a Mech grenade sniper rifle. Now, a sniper rifle, fantastic piece of machinery, unbelievably powerful at long range, and grenade launcher. The grenades, they get launched, explode, with a sniper rifle at long range. Now, I'm going to go talk about balancing further into this video, but I'm telling you right now, this is a very powerful weapon. Here I have two young budding colonists, one equipped with the sniper grenade launcher, the other with a shotgun that's within this mod. Now, the shotgun, it's not really that impressive. It does the job, it's got a nice custom sound. Alright, okay, the damage can be done. However, the Mech sniper grenade launcher, whilst we are testing this at a close range, so it is pretty much guaranteed to hit, it's a sniper grenade launcher. It does what you mean to do. It's got a nice noise to it, not custom, but still a nice sound. Next, I'm going to be showing off an even more impressive weapon. Now, this weapon that I'm going to be showing off here is the Mech sniper cannon. A cannon befitted of the kings. The noise. The noise is unbelievable. It's one of those satisfying sounds that you've just will never forget. Now, I figure next it only makes sense to talk about the other bulk of this mod, the mechanoids. There are 30 mechanoids shown here on screen. All of them unique, all of them have their own pros and cons, and all of them are powerful. They can all use the weapons that are provided within this mod, as well as vanilla weapons. So you could equip one with a pistol, if it's allowed. You could equip one with a cannon, if it's allowed. Some mechanoids can only carry certain weapons, and some of them cannot carry certain weapons, which is a nice balancing part of it. But most importantly, they are all custom designed, beautiful in their own way, and this is 3 of my favorites. So here we have the sniper, the Jaeger, and the Killdozer. The sniper and the Jaeger are very similar. Both of them carry sniper rifles, both of them very powerful at long range. And the Killdozer, honestly, I thought it was pretty cute, and I wanted to include it because it's a nice variation from not just being a humanoid mechanoid, it's a Killdozer. It's a bulldozer that does the killing, and if that doesn't impress you, I don't know what will. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that isn't all the content. I am at the end of the stage where I'm showing you off the content because there is so much content within this mod, I simply can't cover it all unless you wanted this to be like an hour-long video. However, I feel like I'm at a point where I can tell you what I think of it. It's extremely good in terms of content, right? There's so much content here, and on that level, I have to give it a 10 out of 10. It's so deep, so interesting, there's so much to get your teeth stuck into. I want to say it's like a chewy piece of steak, but that isn't very appetizing. I'd call it a chewy piece of chewing gum from your favorite supplier that I'm definitely not going to name. And yes, definitely 10 out of 10. Now, we are going to move on from content and move to quality. Quality, in my opinion, is also extremely important, as we all know and love. We would rather eat a steak that is £100 rather than a steak that is £1.50 from your also favourite cheap supermarket. Quality is obviously going to be determined on how much love I feel like has been put into it, how much quality in terms of graphics, the sprite, the individual way things work, and how good they actually are. Now, when it comes to the quality of the individual items within this mod, I'm going to have to say, I told a small lie, a white lie, a porky pie. I did lie in terms of saying that I wasn't going to use any other mods within this review. I am using another mod within this view, and actually a couple of other ones, but most importantly, the Camera Plus mod. Fantastic mod. I will never ever review it because it is so perfect and fantastic in every way. It should be in everyone's playthrough. Everyone should know that it's a 10 out of 10 mod. Works perfectly, no issues, and all it does is allow you to zoom in and out. Who would have thought that something so simple was so perfect? Now, as you can see here, I've zoomed in very nicely on some of the minified structures here, the items, the weapons, the mechanoids, and we can all see very nicely that the content here is of a great quality. It looks fantastic. Some of it is like looking out on a crisp winter's morning. The grass is covered in a nice icy dew. It's got that lovely white color to it. There's a little bit frosty in the air, and it feels lovely. Some of it's so crisp and perfectly textured, it's fantastic. However, I'm going to be honest, I have a couple of issues here, there, everywhere with some of the textures. Some of them aren't that good. Some of them, like the tungsten and the ceramics, they don't look the best. They're not the best quality, which I am a little bit upset by. But I don't look at those all the time. The things that I am looking at, the mechanoids, the weapons, the places that we build the actual mechanoids, they are of very good quality, and that is what I want to see. The things I'm looking at all the time should be of good quality, and that's what I like to see. It's but good enough for me. It's perfect in every way, really. Slight discrepancies, but it's not that big of an issue, honestly. Now, looking at the quality of each and every item isn't just zooming in and out and saying, wow, look at the pretty picture. It's more than that. We need to look and see what the love and care that AOBA has put into his stuff is, and we start with the description of the items. The Tarbosaurus here, look at it. It's deep, it's lovely, it provides lore. Admittedly, the Tarbosaur is a boss fight, so I mean, I kind of expect this. We compare this to some of the other mechanoids. They're maybe not as deep, and they're not as lore providing, but it's enough. We look at some of the weapons. That's also not too bad. It provides enough. Maybe a little bit more would be nice, a bit more lore around the different military organization that operate on the map. And then we start with the structures. This is where I am so upset, because where is it? Where is the description? Where is the lore? Some of these items here, the Tunkska is a unbelievably late game, extremely powerful turret, and it's just its name in the description. I'm disappointed. I want more. I want to know more about this turret, not that it's just what it's called. I want to know how good it is, where it was used within the lore of the mod, maybe just a little bit more oomph, and I'd be so much more impressed. Otherwise, fantastic. So next I figured we should probably look at the animations and things, you know, see if there's a custom sounds, maybe there's a custom animation, the way they walk, maybe the Tarbosaur, you know, sort of bounces up and down like a dinosaur. No. All I heard here was a load of mechanoids simultaneously reaching their point of finishing all at the same time in my ear. Now, I am obviously not that fussed about this. How often do you zoom into a mechanoid? How often do you listen to a bunch of mechanoids all at the same time? Not very often. No sound on the mechanoids isn't the end of the world. No custom animation isn't the end of the world. However, what I do expect is the weapons to have custom animations and some potentially. Custom sounds, definitely. From a mod of this quality, so far, and the amount of content provided, I want to see uniqueness. I want to see the deliverance of quality here with what I've already seen so far. And on the most part, sound quality, absolutely delivers. I feel like one of those absolute mechanoid lads getting undrafted and getting to roam free. Whatever noise they make, I feel like that. The sound animation for the weapons is just absolutely sublime, alright? It doesn't even matter there's no custom animations, because once again, how often are you zooming in on your colonists like I am? This is me being really, really much of a nitpicker, and that is it. The other custom animations for the turrets and everything is also very nice. I like that they swivel. It means that they're excited to see you, which is very nice as well. But other than that, that's pretty much all the quality testing I needed to do, really. I mean, I could go further and decide what things clip into another and do more than that, but it doesn't need to be any more. Now, I was going to rate this a 10 out of 10. In my script, it says 10 out of 10. But I don't think it is. I'm rethinking that. I'm going to go for an 8 out of 10. And I still think that's an extremely good score, honestly. I just wanted to see more, a little bit more lore, a little bit more intricacies, especially of a mod of this size and the quality that I've already seen. Okay, so imagine this. You finished your steak. It was lovely. You really enjoyed it. It's cooked to perfection, just how you wanted it. Just the right amount. It was just right. The Goldilocks theory comes into play and you have it just the way you want it. The waiter comes over, he bends down, caresses your ear, listens to your heartbeat, and he says, "Sir, would you like dessert?" Now, you could very easily go for the thick cheesecake you've been eyeing up all meal. It's heavy, it's got a nice strawberry compote with it, but does it fit? Does it fit with the rest of your meal? Would you rather have a nice light lemon meringue pie or the heavy strawberry cheesecake to subsidize your steak? Now, you might say that the strawberry cheesecake would be very nice, but is it balanced? Now, is it a balanced meal to have that heavy goods at the end of your meal, or would you rather have something light to complement things off? Balancing is extremely important, not just in the culinary world, but within the mod itself. Is it balanced? Does everything fit in right? And does it not? Very, very important, and we'll start off by looking at the mechanoids. So here we have, once again, our 3 budding volunteers. They love being tested upon, and we have also got 3 mechanoids within this mod as well. 1 very low tier, 1 mid tier, and then the field commander is kind of like mid to high tier because of what it does. And as you can see here, they kind of do their job. They're not absolutely obliterating the colonists straight away. They're doing a decent amount of damage. They're all at different ranges, however, because I felt that the ones that were better at combat should be slightly further away to give a slight balancing fairness. As we can also now see as well, the field commander is struggling. We can re-equip the field commander with a different weapon if we really want to, but that's not the whole point. This is what the game wants you to use, and the mod suggests that we give him the pistol, as that's what it comes with. So I guess overall, I mean, they fairly balanced the robots. They did a good job. They didn't absolutely obliterate them straight away, apart from the protector that used a shotgun. Like with any good meal, we need ingredients. This mod provides us 4 main resources in order to build our meal of things and items within this mod, which are very nice. We have tungsteel, ceramics, plastic fiber, and polyester. Now, you might be familiar with some of these things. Polyester, everything's made out of polyester. Tungsteel kind of sounds like tungsten, so one would assume it's fairly strong. Now, all of these things are made from other materials. Steel and chem fuel is very important for making pretty much everything. And then for plastic fiber, it actually requires synthread, which is pretty interesting as well. Now, in order to visualize how good these added items actually are, I figured it would make sense if I compared them to something within the base game. For example, polyester, something we know in real life, kind of average, everybody has it. I personally believe that it is better than light leather, but not as good as heavy leather, so it's kind of in between. Plastic fiber, like I said, is created with synthread, so you kind of expect it to be better than synthread, which it is. Lovely, but it's not as good as hyperweave. As we all know, hyperweave, very end game stuff, very rare to get, and it's nice to see there is a bridged gap between the two that you can access very easily. Next, if we look at tungsteel, I've actually decided it's far better than steel. In fact, it's actually more comparable between uranium and plasteel. It is better than uranium, in my opinion. The way it's made and the more flexibility for what you can use it for, better than uranium, but not as good as plasteel. And honestly, it's nice that we have a gap between uranium and plasteel, or steel and plasteel. It's something that the game's probably been missing for quite a while, in my opinion, because you kind of get to steel. Where else do you go? Very nice thing that we can actually add this to the base game and use tungsteel as a replacement for maybe uranium or even plasteel, honestly. And now, last but not least, we have ceramics. Now, ceramics are made very cheaply and very easily by using chem fuel and any stone blocks. Now, as that, we expect that. We kind of expect it to not be as good as steel, as you can imagine. And it isn't. It's not as good as steel. But very interestingly, it is still better than gold and silver as a resource to build weapons and armor out of. So it's a nice addition to bridge the gap between being really, really not good, but kind of usable early game, which is a very nice touch, honestly. So we've looked at the mechanoids, we've looked at the resources, now we need to look at the weapons, the real deal stuff of part of this mod. So many weapons and everything to look at, so many different weapons to review. However, I've picked 3 weapons that I perceive to be weapons that could be either really, really overpowered or really, really underbalanced or balanced, or just basically weapons that could be really, really OP. I've gone for the sniper rifle, a minigun, and a pump shotgun, and I've chosen the mod equivalents that I felt fit the best. I am going to also be touching on the Mech sniper grenade launcher later in this balancing section, because I felt like that deserved an entire thing to itself. But overall, let's get into things. I'd also like to very quickly point out that both of our colonists here have 7 in shooting. No other health attributes or anything to affect shooting in any way. As far as I know, they are roughly the exact same. So I'm doing this test in confidence that we're getting as similar results as I can possibly replicate in this situation. Now, in terms of measuring actually which one of these weapons is going to do better, I'm going to go for the fact of which one is going to be doing more damage in the amount of time it takes to kill these lovely, willing people. It's not necessarily the most accurate test, but I felt like for the purpose of time and for the purpose of actually doing the damage and seeing which one's actually the most consistent and accurate over a small amount of time, I felt like this kind of made sense, honestly. And as we can see from the sniper rifle compared to the Mech AMR, the Mech AMR absolutely obliterates the sniper rifle. I don't know what it is. The sniper rifle in base game Rimworld doesn't seem to be the best. But in this situation, holy moly, the Mech one is very, very good. Not necessarily overpowered, but powerful enough that I like it. Next test, we have the minigun and the minigun equivalent from the mod. As I expect, a minigun should be there to provide for suppressive and covering fire. And that's kind of what I'm seeing here. A lot of bullets are being put out, not a lot of damage is being done. But overall, I mean, they're kind of equal. You could argue that the modded minigun's slightly better. Not too sure if we can do that, honestly, because the difference is so nominal. If you look at the stats on paper, I'm telling you, there's a 1 damage difference and everything else is practically identical. I'm quite happy to say these are balanced. And last but not least, we have the pump shotguns. And funnily enough, both of them do extremely well. At this close range, I'm kind of expecting a lot of damage very, very quickly, honestly. And as we can see, honestly, for the health stat here, they're kind of doing the equal amount of damage. However, very interestingly, the pump shotgun from the vanilla game actually tears off limbs compared to the slug gun that just kind of does a lot of damage. I'm not going to base that off the slug gun being less powerful than the pump shotgun because it's unbelievably powerful on both sides, but not one of them has outperformed the other by a significant margin. And I'm quite happy to say that from this test right here, all the weapons here seem fairly balanced to what I expect. Kind of shame about the sniper rifle being way, way underpowered compared to the Mech sniper rifle, but we win some, we lose some. I'm happy with that. And here it is, the Mech sniper grenade launcher. Now, when I think of overpowered, I think of weapons that are easily accessible, extremely powerful, very long range, and very accurate. This weapon is all of those. In terms of research costs, it's pretty low, honestly. In terms of scale of things compared to everything else, in terms of range, it's huge. In terms of damage, it's a grenade launcher. It's huge. Now, I've got 3 of my very nice volunteers. I've put them at the maximum range for this weapon, and as you can see, there's a little bit of destruction here. 3-4 shots will pretty much kill anybody at the most ridiculous range. You could have a kill box made of people with just this and you'd be in an absolutely fantastic spot. This should not be this good or accurate considering how negatively I think about the accuracy of the base game grenade launcher and the base game sniper rifle. This needs to be nerfed ASAP. So with that lovely note of the Mech sniper grenade launcher being as powerful as it is, I feel like I'm at a stage now where I can very comfortably tell you what I think of the balancing part of this mod. It's decent, almost. The Mech sniper rifle I thought was a little bit more powerful than what I'd expect, but then I also would like to think that the vanilla sniper rifle could be a little bit better, my own opinion. And obviously the Mech sniper grenade launcher just blows everything out of the water. Like, I didn't need to tell you anything about any of the other weapons because Mech sniper grenade launcher, it's unbelievably good. It's just too good. And everything else though, very nice. The resources all work. They all fit in really nicely with the vanilla. The mechs are all fairly balanced for the way you get them and everything. So I'm going to very comfortably say it gets an 8 out of 10 for balance, you know. All it needs is a little bit of work on the sniper rifle and everything, potentially. And definitely the Mech sniper grenade launcher. If anything, the Mech sniper grenade launcher, just turn it down so it's really bad but really powerful and I'd be happy, honestly. But still, 8 out of 10, very good. Okay, so the next subject that we need to cover within this review is mod compatibility and whether or not there are any bugs or anything. Now, I have been playing this mod for quite a long time. I've played this off camera and everything. I personally have had no issues, okay? I've not had any major bugs. I've not had anything that I haven't been able to fix by just either reloading the game or just going into dev mode and deleting something. I have had literally pretty much no issues. Touch wood. Now, there is one known issue that AOBA has acknowledged on the work page, as we can see here, is the Actung mod. It doesn't allow the mechanoids to switch weapons unless you pause the game. it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Not really a particularly big issue. And I've gone through the discussion page and everything as well. There's a couple of bugs here and there, but honestly, that's going to be down to the mod pack you're using, in my opinion, rather than it being a main issue with the mod. And overall, honestly, in terms of mod compatibility, it's fantastic. Even with everything that's going on within Rimworld, you don't need to use Royalty or the IG Religion DLC. Fantastic, by the way. So much accessibility for everyone. You only need to buy one DLC, being the biotech one, and that is it. Overall, I mean, I'm going to give this a solid 9 out of 10 in terms of compatibility. I'd give it 10 out of 10, but there is a known issue. You know, if there was no known issues and no complaints anywhere, it would be a 10 out of 10. 9 out of 10, though, extremely strong score. Okay, so last but not least, I felt like I wanted to recommend mods to go with the other mods, alright? This mod is massive. I'm going to highlight a few mods that I feel like fit in the best with it. This is all down to my personal opinion. This one is totally my opinion. So yeah, here we go. First off, I'm going to go for Rimworlds as one of my favorite mods and an extremely fun mod to use in an industrial setting. I think that fits perfectly with the mechanoids that we've got here. Feels very industrial, feels very military. Oil, who doesn't love oil? The Americanizations are lovely. Rimworlds, yes, if you can run this at the same time as everything else, do it. It makes perfect sense, and it would be great for an industrial playthrough. And to pair with Rimworlds and Dead Man Switch, I felt like vanilla vehicles expanded would also work extremely well. Rimworlds vanilla expanded vehicles have got compatibility between the two. You can use the two in lieu. Very, very nice touch. And with the robots as well, I mean, cars, robots, tanks, you know, it's America on steroids. This is just too good. Like, you can't avoid using this mod, I think. And for the next two mods, I've chosen two very good mods that are also fitting the industrial theme that I think goes really well with this mod. The first one is by AOBA himself. Fortifications Industrial, just adds industrial fortifications. Who can go wrong with that? And the next one's actually a storyteller, Diego Industrial. Makes sense. Industrial tech is only allowed if you want to sort of limit yourself potentially for a game that is literally in the industrial era. Fits perfectly. I don't need to say more really. And the last big mod that I'm going to be recommending that you use is Mech. Now you might think this is a little bit contradictory because Mech adds its own set of mechanoids. However, this is one of the only mods that I found that added specific Mechanator armor. Obviously, you need to be a Mechanator in order to use the mechs. Mech is one of the few ones that actually added very polished and well-balanced Mechanator armor. All the other Mechanator armors that I found were just kind of a bit mid, in the nicest way possible. Mech by Sergeant Bjornsson, fantastic mod as it is. Probably a mod I'll review at some point in the future. Extremely good armors and that fit really, really nicely with all the rest of the Mechanator stuff. So, I mean, if you wanted to go overboard on Mechanators and have your thing for Mechanators and Mechanoids, then go for this mod as well. So that was just a selection of mod recommendations that I felt like would go really, really well with this mod. Now, there are loads of others. However, on the flip side to that, there aren't that many. For a mod this size, it's actually very difficult to recommend good mods that would be balanced and also fit within the theme very well. I think that this mod is one of those mods that you could kind of use as a main thing. You don't necessarily have to add loads of different things to it. And for that reason alone, I'm only going to give it a 6 in terms of mod compatibility. I know that seems low, but I'm telling you, I want to play with a mod that fits in everywhere. This one doesn't necessarily do that. I'd be forced to play as a Mechanator. Nothing wrong with that. I'd be forced to kind of go down that trail. So, I mean, for certain playthroughs, perfect. But for a lot of general playthroughs, not really, actually. But still, 6, I think, is a good score. It's nothing wrong to complain about. So you finished your meal. The waiter brings over the receipt. And you look at it, and it's got a price on it. Now, the price determines what you think of the meal in general, honestly. In my opinion, very important, obviously. Now, you did enjoy the starter, you did enjoy the main, and the dessert was just what you wanted. But what score do you give this based on the receipt? Now, the receipt is coming back saying that this mod was a 41 out of 50, which on my rating system translates to a A. Very, very good, alright? I have no issues with this mod whatsoever. Will be used in future playthroughs of mine on this channel. This is a good mod. The only reason I think I've listed this down is because this mod is too big. It's one of those mods that takes over from so many other mods. You kind of... either have to include it and then include so many other mods, or you don't include it and kind of use the other replacements. I think the fact that it is just this mod that is so big and you have to not use it or use it is kind of bringing down the score a bit, which is why I gave it a 6 out of 10. This isn't a bad thing. This is not bad. I'm trying to enforce this. This is not bad. But for for having a perfect mod, it's got to do everything. 10 out of 10. And in terms of being able to use other mods, it's not quite there. So I think a 41 for a mod of this size, content, quality, balancing, and the compatibility, and whether or not it's got bugs and everything, I think is extremely good. For the future of this series, please let me know any feedback whatsoever. Like I said at the beginning, this is the first time I've ever done a series or video like this. Any feedback, give it in the comments. Give it to me in Discord. Give it to me in any form you'd like. So yeah, if you have enjoyed this mod review and want more, consider liking, subscribing. Make sure you tell your mum about things. I'll see you next time. Thank you.